the current director of the West River CTE Consortium. Previous to this position, I worked in the Student Success Center as a coach and then the coordinator, and I still help out with the center functions just a little bit right now as needed. So super excited that I get to help with this year's event for our Native American students as well. So if you, again, have any questions, you know who to talk to. You can also talk to anybody in the Student Success Center, particularly Leah and Casey Martin, the new coordinator. We generally will be kind of the initial go-tos for your question, but any coach can help you and get you in the right direction. What I want to do today is just kind of walk you through what is going to happen when you need to be at the Civic Center for the ceremony and all that kind of stuff. I know that we have a few students who have either attended or maybe helped out with a ceremony in the past, which used to be called our Eagle Feather ceremony. We changed the name last year and then couldn't host the event because of COVID. So normally this ceremony is actually held at Western Dakota Tech in the event center. Because of, COVID restrictions with social distancing and all of that, we are able to host it this year still by doing so at the Civic Center. I know it's also being called the Monument, so out of habit, you're going to hear me reference it as the Civic Center. The location for this event is going to be the LaCroix AB. So it is just kind of directly across from the area that the Barnett Arena is in. So you can enter through those same doors and all of that good stuff. But as with the graduation ceremonies, there's going to be Western Dakota Tech staff helping out to direct people where they need to go. So don't worry about walking in and kind of having no idea where you're going. There will be people walking around to help direct you, as well as our speaker, our MC, and other guests that are attending the ceremony. So for the participating graduates, first of all, congratulations, how exciting. So you guys are going to want to make sure that you arrive at the Civic Center at least by 5:30. So the ceremony itself will kick off right at 6 o'clock on the dot. We would like graduates there about 30 minutes beforehand, at the very, very least, 15 minutes beforehand. That way we can get you kind of organized appropriately. You can see the space that you're going to be in just to have a little bit more of a visual. Since it is a smaller, more intimate ceremony, it's just a lot easier to just get everybody in the same space ahead of time right beforehand, and just so you can kind of see what to expect and what the layout is, where you will be seated as the graduate and all that kind of stuff. So when the ceremony kicks off at 6 o'clock, everybody, including you as the graduates, will be in LaCroix AB. So you will have a special seating area since the ceremony is for you. And we'll show you where that is. We'll have the drum group in a special area and all that. When we get started, Dr. Bolman's actually going to get up to the podium, and she's going to give a welcome greeting and introduce our MC and let everybody know it's time to get started and to be seated. So once we introduce our MC, who is Maverick Greyhorse, he is then going to take over just kind of the overseeing of the ceremony, make sure the speaker comes up when they need to, the elder comes up when they need to, do all the transitioning work like your typical MC does. Immediately, as part of the ceremony, he will introduce our elder, which is Bryant Highhorse, and ask that everybody stand for opening prayer. So after the opening prayer is when our MC will ask that veterans, dignitaries, and the graduates exit into the hall. So you will exit the LaCroix AB room after the prayer. So you can line up in the hall so you are able to enter for grand entry. That's a tongue twister. So again, kind of just be paying attention. You'll get a cue, but basically your main cue is going to be when when that prayer is ending, you will stand up and make your way out into the hall with the dignitaries and whatnot. At that time, Leah, who I believe many, if not all of you know, she's our coach in the Success Center, who also oversees our Native American student organization. So she is then going to make her way to the podium at the front of the room, and She is going to introduce herself to everybody there and announce grand entry. So it'll just be a simple, please stand for the grand entry of Western Dakota Tech's 2021 graduates. The drum group will play, and then we will do grand entry. So myself, Casey, the SSC coordinator, and then Debbie, the current director of the SSC, we will all be out in the hall to help get everybody organized, so that your grand entry kind of goes off without a hitch as much as possible, and to answer any like last minute questions you have or help with any last minute jitters or anything like that. So just again, be watching for one of us. If you're not sure exactly who we are, that's okay. We'll have our Western Dakota Tech name tags on. So as long as you are getting help from someone with a WDT name tag, I think you'll be good to go. And of course from each other as well. So once grand entry happens, then our MC will introduce our speaker. Our speaker is actually a former Western Dakota Tech graduate from the Criminal Justice Law Enforcement Emphasis Program. So that's super exciting. He graduated 2 years ago, was supposed to be our speaker last year, and had to cancel, of course, because of COVID when we canceled the event. So we're super excited that he's coming back to be our speaker. That speech will be just about 10 to 15 minutes, so relatively short and sweet for all things considered as far as speeches go. You'll then hear our MC, Maverick, take back over, and he will start the introduction of the ceremony, asking that those who have chosen to tie a feather or plume to come stand behind their graduates so we can do that part. He will also ask that there are no photos or videos or live streaming happening while the prayer over the feathers is done. Our elder will then do a presentation of feathers. And once that part is done, then the Native American Honoring organization, sorry, I'm trying to remember the student organization name, club officer, Leonard Redhair, as well as Leah, will go back up to the podium. Leonard will introduce himself. Leah will have already introduced herself. So Leah is going to basically be up at the podium to assist. And Leonard is going to take on the role as the president of the club currently to congratulate all of the graduates and to go ahead and read the graduates' information that was submitted to Leah or myself. And that is where you submitted the tribe you're with, your mother and father's name, any special recognitions you wanted to give, what degree that you're graduating with. So if you have not given that information to Leah or myself, I will be accepting those up until noon tomorrow. So if you could get those to me, I've extended that a little bit, see if we can squeeze anyone else in that still needs to send that information. It can be as short and sweet as you want or a little longer. We want to make sure that you get recognized, of course, because this is a huge accomplishment, and make sure that you feel like you've been able to thank those instrumental key players in your life to get you to this point. So once all of the graduates have been recognized who submitted bios and information, then Leonard will go ahead and he will start giving our gifts to our special guests, like our MC, our speaker, our elder, and the drum group. We've just basically put together a few gift bags for them to thank them for attending and for being part of this event and celebrating with everybody. So nothing super fancy, but just a token of our appreciation on behalf of all of our graduates and ourselves. Leah will help with handing out the gifts as Leonard is announcing them and reading just a short excerpt that goes along with that. Then Leah will take the action to actually walk the gift to the right person at each time. Once the gifts are done, then the drum group will play the honoring song while the graduates make their way back out of the room. The one thing we are not able to do this year is have food, unfortunately, and we are also not able to do any of the receiving line where people can shake your hands and stuff. So in lieu of that, to try to still make it somewhat a little bit special and able to recognize you individually, if your family want to come up, we will be having the graduates, like I said, exit the room while the drum group is playing the honoring song. And then we're going to have graduates re-enter in a line, kind of like you did for grand entry. But when you re-enter, when you arrive for the ceremony on Friday, we'll show you where you're going to stand. So when you re-enter, you're not going to go back to your chairs. You're going to stand socially distanced throughout the room, so that if there are family members or any WDT staff or faculty that want to come up to a specific graduate or all the graduates, they can do so in a socially distanced manner, but it won't be an actual formal part of the ceremony. So doing the best we can, just super excited we get to host anything in general at all. So there are a couple of components that are going to look quite different if you've attended a ceremony before or have heard about one, but we're doing our best we can to try to keep it as consistent as possible. Once we've had you throughout the room, and once people have made their way to say congrats or take a picture or whatever they want to do, then you will be asked to sign in handprint the TP. So each year, starting a few years ago, we have graduates handprint with red paint the TP that Western Dakota Tech has and sign your name to it, as well as your degree if you would like. Normally the TP is set up, but again, because of the venue and some restrictions we have and ceremonies going on and what we're able to work with, we aren't able to set up the TP this year, but we are going to have it at the Civic Center in the room available for graduates to sign and to handprint. We have wet wipes that we've purchased. They're just your generic wet wipes. So if you have some unique allergy, you might want to let me know ahead of time so that I can provide you with special wet wipes, or just bring your own. I know that there's some sensitive skins, and so just want to be sensitive to that. So once you are asked to sign the TP and place your handprint on it, that kind of really wraps up our official ceremony. Leo will be up with the TP, and it'll be set up on the stage area, so it's out of the way. And she will be there to help with the paint, to help with the cleanup. We have black Sharpies being provided for you to sign, so no need to bring your own writing utensils to do that. And we'll also have water bottles placed at each chair in the room. So if people don't bring their own drink, they're thirsty, that will be provided. There's restrooms nearby. I think most everybody's been in the Civic Center, but if you haven't and you get there and you want just like a brief run through of where the closest facilities are, just let one of us know. And then the other thing that we're doing this year to adhere to COVID guidelines and Western Dakota Tech mandates is, of course, everybody has to wear a mask, and that includes the graduates, the guests, and the Western Dakota Tech staff working, as well as anyone attending from Western Dakota Tech as well. So masks do have to be worn at all times. Again, the only exception with that is the speaker who is at the podium at the time. In the instance where we have Leah and Leonard up there, Leah will be wearing a mask since she'll just be handing out the gifts, while Leonard can take his off to do the speaking. So just to be really clear on that, if you do not have a mask, we will ask you to put one on, and we will also have masks provided for anybody that may forget theirs. The other thing that we have to do this year is we've had to limit the guests to 6, which everybody I believe knows by now. When you picked up your graduation cap and gown and tickets, you should have also received 6 Native American honoring ceremony tickets. And you, I'm sure, noticed the tickets are different, so they are designated to different events, different ceremonies. So make sure that your guests have the correct tickets in hand when they get there. Now, there might be the temptation to sneak more than 6 people in. However, it won't work because this year we have to do reserved seating. So each graduate has been reserved a table in the room. So for example, if it was my family, I would have one reserved table with 6 seats. That would say reserved for the family of, or reserved for the guests of Fawn Hall. So there is only 6 seats available at each table, since the graduates will sit in a different area. So there's really not a way to just sneak somebody in there. Tickets do count for infants and small children as well. And as far as masks go, anyone 5 years old and older has to wear a mask. So if there's infants or children 4 years old or younger, then they won't be required to have a mask on. So just a couple little things to keep in mind. When your guests arrive, we will have a few people, they're actually coaches from the center, staff from the center, that will be handing out programs, making sure they have masks on, taking tickets, and also helping your guests find the reserved table for you. So It's going to be pretty clear cut, pretty smooth as far as we have it planned, what we're expecting. With the graduates showing up, like I said, about 30 minutes prior, I think it's going to be just that much smoother, so you feel more comfortable and confident as well. If your guests do ride with you to the ceremony, as a lot of times they will with graduation, that's fine, but they won't be able to enter the LaCroix AB room until 45 minutes prior. So we're asking you to be there 30 minutes prior, but the doors to the room will actually be open 45 minutes prior, just like the graduation ceremony. So they can arrive as early as 5:15 if they would like, but the graduates do need to be there at least by, like I said, 5:30. If you're running a little late, absolutely that 5:45 is when we're really going to get things moving and shaking behind the scenes, you could say. So looks like we have a question coming in, but that's the basic gist of what we have going on for that day. A little bit of a preview, a little bit of run through. Does anybody have any questions? You can type them into the chat box or unmute yourself. Let me know and we will do our best to get you some answers. Okay, so I had Lisa Fawn. I had requested a chair in honor of Miss Hinks. I plan on placing a small bouquet of flowers in her remembrance. Awesome. And we do have the photograph printed. It's actually in my office and all of the other supplies ready to go down. So that will be there. And when you arrive, Lisa, I will show you where that will be so that you can place the flowers there as well. Yep, we can do the same thing for graduation. I know that I'll get a little bit more specifics on that because the general education faculty divided up to attend. Some were going to attend the 9 a.m. graduation, some were going to attend the noon graduation. So I will work with our marketing department and Dr. Bolman to see where we want to kind of host that seat for her at either of those ceremonies, but we'll just be using the same picture from what I understand. But either way, that from what I know, from what's been shared with me, that she will be honored at each. And then I do know there is a memoriam page in the program as well. Yes, I agree completely. She does deserve to be recognized. She is an amazing person and faculty, so hard hit for a lot of people for sure. And Larissa, I see you're typing in a question, so a couple people are typing in questions. So I'm just waiting for those to come through. I'm not sure if there's a delay or what, so just kind of hang tight if it feels like we're just standing idle. Okay, so Larissa, yes, so Larissa shared, if you guys are watching the chat, and just so everybody knows what I'm addressing here, that she got signed up a little bit late, and so she just wanted to make sure that a table won't be forgotten about for her family. Yes, Larissa, you're correct, because programs are already being printed. That is correct. However, we do already have the reserved table signed for your family. I verified that today, so you are good to go there. We have you covered in every other area that you need to be. So other than the program, that's really the only part that you might be missing out on. Deshaun, as far as do we keep the feather or when do I turn in the feather because I want to wear the feather on graduation? So it's a feather that whoever is going to be giving it to you will be providing you. So I culturally don't know how that works, to be honest. You may even just be able to ask them who's giving you the feather if you can, transfer it to your cap for graduation. We don't have any like requirements or anything like that on Western Dakota Tech's end or ceremony end or anything like that. So I would just see how that works with the person providing you the feather. But yes, you keep the feather. Like we don't take it or do anything with it. And I don't believe your family takes it back or whoever gives it to you takes it back. Adrian, I saw that you said you were trying to join, but can only see the chat. I sent you a request to join, but I see you on the list. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to join the actual group. Casey or Leah, do you want to follow up with her in the chat maybe and see if she can hear me and what I'm saying? If you don't mind, please, one of you.
Yep, I'm taking a look at that right now.
Thanks. So Deshawn, you don't actually provide the feather to anyone. Whoever's going to be giving you the feather at the ceremony, so whoever's going to be tying it to you, they actually will hold on to it until that part of the ceremony starts, and then they will bring the feather up to your chair with them to do the actual tying. So it doesn't ever go into anyone else's hands other than the person who is bringing it to give to you, and then when they tie it to you. So those are the only, that's the only exchange that happens there, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question? Okay, perfect. Sometimes I read something that someone didn't mean, and you know, people's perceptions and all that, so I just want to make sure. All right, these are great questions, great points of clarification, guys. Okay, so Adriana, looks like you're good to go now. Perfect. You see, you have a couple more questions on their way coming in here, so we'll sit tight for just a bit. So Adriana, with you mentioning that you didn't get to hear anything, just the chats that were coming through, we're actually recording this. So by tomorrow, when around the same time that I send out the graduation pre-recorded videos for anyone who's not able to attend the virtual rehearsals, then we will be sending this group out, like any of the participants for the Native American honoring ceremony, we'll be sending out this recording. So you'll be able to hear everything that we talked about and walked through. So I just really kind of walked through what to expect with the ceremony, what times to be there. It's pretty smooth running. There's not, you know, really, it's way less intense than the graduation ceremony, mainly because we have a smaller pool of people, which is great. So just watch this. And then if you have any questions, let Leah, myself, or Casey know, or really anyone in the center, the Student Success Center, and then we can help you out. So I am not located in the Student Success Center anymore. So I'm actually located over in the office area where like admissions and financial aid is, but you guys can still come find me, or you can go ahead and email me. You can type my name into the address book on Outlook, or just fawn.hall@wdt.edu. And I'm super happy to help too. Even though I'm not officially with the center anymore, I'm helping with this year's graduation event since we have quite a few new faces over there. And selfishly, I love graduation events and celebrating with all the graduates. So I'm super happy to help and be able to be part of this with all of you as well. So yes, Lisa, you're welcome. So Deshawn asked, what link is there to go to so family can see outside the ceremony? So we will be live streaming the ceremony. I believe everybody knows that, but just in case you didn't, the exception to that being that the feathering portion, the prayer of the feathers, that will not be live streamed to respect culture. But the rest of it will be. And so our marketing department, just as with the graduation ceremonies as well, is setting up the links that will be used live stream. So it'll be done through Facebook. And from what I was last told, they should have those links kind of ready to go by tomorrow, I believe. And so it'll either be a marketing department, possibly me, sending out that communication to what that live streaming link will be. So you'll be able to have it well ahead of time, so you can provide it to any of those friends and family who are either not able to attend, or we just have the limited seating for. Okay, do we have any other questions or thoughts or points of clarification from anybody? Leah or Casey, is there anything that we've discussed that I may have missed in all of my brain dump here? Okay, so Casey says we're good. Leah says we're good. It's always good to have people double check your work. So with that, I will go ahead and end this virtual rehearsal. As I mentioned, just a couple reminders, masks are required, tickets are required for entry, and please reach out to Leah, Casey, myself, or a student success coach if you have any questions. Otherwise, we will for sure see everybody for the ceremony no later than 5:30 at the Civic Center, just right outside of LaCroix AB or near the Civic Center entrance, and guide you where you need to be. So thanks everybody. Reach out if you have any questions.